Hello, I am Bentham and welcome back to Dyson Sphere Program, where we just unlocked the foundation, which is critically important in the next big project that I want to undertake, building a main bus in Dyson Sphere Program. We're going to find out just how viable that is, but probably only a little bit further down the line once I've committed to it. It's an interesting one of those things, like looking at how the science and stuff shapes up as the game goes ahead. I feel like, and a lot of other people feel like, a main bus isn't as viable in this as it is in, say, Factorio or Satisfactory. But I think it's worth a shot just to kind of see how it works and demonstrate how one can be built. So we are going to try that. However, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get to that today, because there are a couple of other things we need to do first. One of them is, there's an ocean in the way. I want to build it starting about here and going this way, and it's going to need space either end, and very quickly we run into a big old patch of water right there. I'm also a bit worried about this coal. There is almost 1 million coal there that we might just have to pave over. I'm hoping not to do that, but I think maybe we'll end up having to do that. Perhaps what I could do is send the belts over that particular section. Hopefully it won't interfere too much with the design, and we can try and mine that out later. I hate wasting resources. I know there's a whole load of planetary systems out there, but there are a finite number of resources. There is a limited amount of coal, and so I want to try and use every last little bit that I possibly can. That's just me. A lot of people are going to waste that kind of time. We'll see what we can do. But yes, to fill in the water, we're going to need the foundation, the stuff that we just researched, and for that we're going to need an area to make this stuff. So let's start, once again, the ritual of clearing a ton of space of trees and rocks and stuff. You can just pave over this. I'm a hoarder. You know me. I don't want to waste this stuff if it could be of any use at all. That said, after getting to this point in the live streams where I was using the resources, turned out they didn't really get me very far. But I don't know. I have my idiosyncrasies, so we'll clear it all out. It won't take too long. Gives me time to think and talk. Yes, so foundation, it's made of two things, stone brick, or smelted stone, or whatever it's particularly called, I forget exactly, and steel. We're making steel already, and we're mining raw stone, so it should be fairly easy to set up. The key thing is we want it to be a decent rate of supply of it, because I don't want to hang around waiting for it to be made, and I'm going to want it pretty soon after setting up the production in the first place. Because we got an ocean to fill in. So this seems like a good spot to set it up. Also, I've been thinking about doing some repositioning on the smeltery arrangement. This is a new recording session, by the way, so I've got the benefit of extra knowledge. There's been another live stream since the last episode, and I've been able to read everyone's comments. It's been pointed out that the throughput rate for iron ore is not so great on these smelters. This belt is sending 6 a second iron through, and each one of these uses 1 per second. So as soon as you got 6 of them going, the rest of them can't use anything. So we've got 8 there. The last 2 will never get any iron ore, and that's not accounting for the fact that we're also making magnets. Now, these go a bit slower. They are one of those uses 40 iron a minute, so 9 of those would use up a full belt of iron right now. We could we could upgrade the belt, we could get a level 2 belt, but we don't actually have that unlocked yet. We would have to do the necessary science. Speaking of, hang on, I'll queue up some more stuff for this guy, because he's going to carry on while we're in the science menu. Just everything there is to mine. Until I run out of nodes. I put a walk node in there by accident. That's fine. There we go. We gotta queue up some more science. We've done everything we can in terms of upgrades right now, apart from this one here, which we need electric motors for. I could throw this together. Yeah, actually, I'll queue this one up and we'll go grab that, because I can make those manually. They take 2 seconds each, so it is gonna take like 2 minutes, or maybe only 1 minute if they're made in 2s. But I want to be able to walk quicker. It's really nice. But yeah, I'm going to start researching some of the fancy gubbins down here, fluids and plasma, and get us ready for doing the oil stuff, because that'll come relatively soon. Basic chemical engineering. Oh yes, and the energy matrix. That is the next type of matrix, of course, made of graphite and hydrogen. We already have graphite, of course. Hydrogen can be made using all of these gubbins we're unlocking here. So once we've got the main bus going, that's going to be the next project. I think that's going to be the order we take things in. So, yeah, that should keep us good for science for a while. There we go, we finished all the jobs. A couple more things that I can queue up. We've almost entirely scoured this particular patch of the world of anything not nailed down. At least that I can see. It is night time, so I might be missing something. Day-night cycle is pretty rapid here, so, you know, we'll spot it if it happens, and it's not the end of the world if we don't. So we're going to get some stone brick smelting going on, and then we're going to bring over some steel, mash them together, make ourselves some foundation. Another thing is, I've been told that you can chain these thermal power stations, so I could actually just have a row of them and have them all using sorters to transport between each other. That said, I think I want to use this space, so we'll just keep extending it that way. That works out fine enough. We'll fill the ocean in if we need to. Alright, here's our stone mine. It's going the wrong way. I might actually just leave that as it is, make a new miner on the other side. Just because it's easier. We might as well get better mine coverage. And also, the longer I leave this thing without miners covering it, the more likely I am to fill the space around it and not be able to fit miners anymore. I've already kind of encroached a bit on the space I would be using for miners. Okay. This seems like a pretty good spot. Yep, let's go with that. I'm not going to bother leaving the grid. That works well enough. What is that? 7 spots. So that's 210 a minute. I think we'll be fine. Right, can we hop out here? Yes, we can. I'm going to send the belt up this way. And we need some smelters. We got plenty. What is the rate that these things use stone? 1 per second. So, yeah, this thing will be running at 60... 360 per minute, except it won't. It'll be running at 210 per minute. Which is 3.5. So only actually 3.5 furnaces can run off this, I believe. I could have got my numbers wrong somewhere along there, but I think that's correct. So we'll just set up 4 for now. I've now worked out properly how the copying and pasting works. I was opening the menu thinking that was necessary. It's literally mouse over the machine you want to copy from, mouse over the machine you want to copy to. That's where I was making my mistake, as occasionally my mouse was slipping off the thing that I actually needed to be clicking on. And then we'll have an output belt go back down. This is always a setup that I like to do, is to have inputs and outputs. Well, inputs come from the same direction that the outputs go to. The idea is scalability. I can just keep adding more to this and nothing's ever going to get in the way. If I had an output belt, it might peel off, meaning that it wouldn't continue right anymore, or it might go that way, in which case it'd block things. So I always try and come back where I came from, even if that means immediately like going across and then up again. Because scalability is always useful. We can get a better belt for this later or whatever. Something like that, and then we'll be able to make this quicker in future if we make it so that we can add more. Next up, we need to have some assemblers. So we'll go across. I mean, what kind of gap should we leave, do we think? I think 2's probably enough. I don't intend to put any machines in this space. It's just like, you know, power poles. Maybe like other belts and splitters could end up being in this space later. Because there is also verticality, so we can have things go over the top if we really need to, but I prefer to waste space if it means that I can make something scalable. Generally. There are exceptions. I'm sure you can find them if you look. Okay. I think I want to put the machine right up against the thing. So, foundation. Let's check what this is. So yes, 3 stone bricks and 1 steel to make 1 foundation. So I think we have the 1 belt on this side for bringing in the bricks, and we'll have the steel on this side and then an output as well. In fact, we'll probably have the output on the inside and the steel on the outside. Just because the steel is coming from this direction already. And the ratios get a little bit wacky here, because these machines don't operate at exact ratios. Let me just check. Yeah, the production speed of a smelter is 1 times, so it makes a recipe at the time that a recipe says it will. If the recipe's a second, it'll take a second. However, this thing... Oh, hello.
Has reached a certain scale. Now, click the Statistics panel button at the bottom right corner of the screen to view statistics. It includes the output consumption of each item, electricity data, etc. Use these dynamic data can help you to manage your production base.
Yes, so that was what I demonstrated in the last episode, but what I missed is that there are some buttons down here. Thank you to everyone who pointed this out. There is indeed a paragraph. Here it is. Let's go to an hour so we can see a bit more of our recent history. So it graphs the capacity of our power generation and the power being demanded, regardless of whether or not it's actually being supplied in that moment or not. So you can see this is when we were just using wind power. Then we added 2 of the power generators, the big ones. Then we added 2 more, and then we added 2 more. And you can see consumption, well, demand is all over the place, and at one point demand exceeded supply. You can see here this gap is smaller than this gap, meaning we were demanding more than we were supplying until I added these extra ones in, and then it was fine. And then actually it flattened out a lot again, as it turned out. Probably because science has stopped, and it's still stopped. What I forgot to do before I really got stuck into this was to actually queue up the 60 engines. So let's make sure we do that. And they are made... oh no, they are made one by one. It's making all the gears individually. We don't need to do that. I'll carry on the craft while we're going, because we might as well if we've got time. But let us actually grab plenty of... You know what? 4 stacks of the stuff. Let's make sure we're good to go. And that means going back into this, we'll want to delete. That's more like it. So yeah, in 100 seconds will be good. And in the meantime, the science will begin anyway. We'll start just researching it with our robots. And then as soon as that's done, this research will actually kick in again. Also, I see that there's not enough iron right now. Interesting. Yeah, this thing hasn't even filled up. And we need more for ourselves, so let's do that. Yeah, I can definitely see what people mean about the iron thing. We do need to increase the capacity there. I will get to that shortly. It's going to mean that the thing ends up being a little bit wider. I do have an idea about how to go about it in the immediate future before we have unlocked the faster belts. Alright, this is set up. We need to get a steel line over here. There's our steel. Currently doesn't do anything at all, so easy enough. Just line it up. And then we'll go up for here. And then down. Connect up. Easily done. Follow my drones as they make it, just to get the job done a little bit quicker. Just for good measure... Actually, how quick is the craft of this? Oh, 1 second. Yeah, it's pretty speedy. Yeah, I think we're going to put a faster one here. I reckon... These, yeah, it's a single one that's made, so I reckon this will do for output. And then I think we'll need a quick one here, maybe even a second one, to bring the stone in quick enough. Now let's actually get this all running. We'll start to get the first little bits of foundation production. Or we will if we power it. That's always important. Oh, there we go. We've researched the +1 meter per second mecha move speed. There we go. That feels a little bit better. Still room for improvement, but every little helps. Yeah, let's put this right here. And actually, we can get rid of that one. We'll just have the power go down the middle. Alright, and we are making foundation. And this definitely wants to go into a storage. There's not going to be much else that it's doing apart from going to us so that we can start filling in some oceans and flattening down some hills. There are a couple around. There's one. You can see how the grid kind of flows around as the height that my mouse is attached to changes. It's quite interesting. So yeah, a bit slow. Let's see if we can speed it up. Oh, yeah, I was talking about the assembly machine. And there we go. We've researched fluid storage encapsulation. We can now pump at least water. Yeah, I think just water for the moment, and put it in a tank if we want. Don't know why. Plenty of storage for water as it stands. I don't think water depletes anyway. If it does, that's actually quite interesting. If you can drain the oceans, that's quite cool. I don't think that's a thing though. I think water is always just at the exact same height of just below 0. Yes, so, as I was saying, the assembly machine crafts at 0.75 times. So it goes 3/4 the speed that it actually says it does, basically. So if a craft would take 1 second, it will take I guess 1 1/3 seconds would be the way it would work. Yeah, I think we'd have to add a third to all of the times that it would take to craft things. Also, we've researched plasma control technology. Little bit fancy. This thing's going to be quite useful to us, actually. I think, can I try and build one of those right now? What's it made of? Oh, it does use those capsules, which I do want to save, so I'll not build one right now, but that is a long-distance power pole, basically, but also it charges the mech way faster than the internal charging thing will usually work. So that is a useful thing to have, most definitely, especially once you're starting to fly around the place everywhere. Yeah, so because this thing runs at less than full speed, it makes sorting out ratios a little bit awkward. Like, we know we're making 4 of these a second, and this is would be consuming 3 of them a second, but it's going slower. I think, like, just eyeballing it in a sense without really thinking about the numbers, because it's hard to do that while also talking and trying to present the thing. I'm going to say that I'm pretty sure 2 of these machines would cover the supply of 4 of those. And actually, it isn't even a full 4 of those. It's 3.5, or it should be. But actually, this is built up right now. I guess because everything else is built up, perhaps. I could have got numbers wrong. As I say, maths is hard when you're also trying to talk. But let's connect this up all the same. Let's see how it goes. Is this thing going full speed? Yes, it is. So this is going quick enough to take everything in that it needs to. And it seems this is able to handle the outputs too. Has this started running yet? Oh no, I've got that backwards. I made a mistake and was trying to load instead of unload. Now it goes. Can this thing handle it? Well, for a moment it won't be able to, but that's because this is going to be draining its backlog. Hard to say, but maybe we do just want a faster one there to make sure we're okay. Now this is building up a backlog. It's a chain. We are starting to get there with the foundation. Let's demonstrate how this works. So,
foundation.
Oh, he's going to tell us.
Leveling tool. Yet we cannot use it to change the planetary landforms at will. We can only level the surface to ground zero. If the foundation is used for high grounds, it will gain soil pile. On the contrary, if it is used on the ocean or low-lying areas, it must consume soil pile. When installing the foundation, either choose a kind of decoration or without decoration, even only surface leveling.
Yeah, so there's 2 ways to go about it. You can either just make ground flat. There we go. Now I've now placed a 2x2 section of foundation. I don't know if you can actually pick it up again. I think that's just there forever now. But that has flattened the ground and given us some soil piles. So when we do this, it adds to my supply, and I already have 66,000 soil pile, which is quite nice. So you can use that to fill in some water. You can see in certain places it says it will consume it. This is a dip in the ground. There's not actually any water here, but it's close to being low enough. Then over here we get to the areas where there is actually water, and it consumes a lot more soil to fill in the space. And now we've researched some fancier stuff. We can extract oil, we can refine it, and we could do that using the plasma refining recipe, which is quite interesting that you go straight to refining using plasma, like skipping all of the low-tech steps. Like, it's clearly a demonstration of how this is a super futuristic society that already knows all these ridiculous fancy ways of doing things. So like the first power thing you build is a wind turbine, because why faff about with coal power unless you need the high power supply that it gives you. It's quite interesting in that way that, like, you're showing up with all the tools already in your bag. You just need to. It's almost like you're just working out how to apply them to reality. Like, you're like, oh yeah, I know how to plasma refine oil. And you're like, oh, but how do I make the machine for it? I guess I'm gonna throw some computation cubes at my buddies back in the Matrix, and they can tell me how this all works. It seems that we're very close to like an exact ratio here, because this is very slowly draining, I think. Or maybe it's perfectly balanced. Okay, I mean, we've already got one arm down. I'm just going to extend this and build another basic arm. Why not? Makes no difference, really. Just to make sure this can load at full speed. So yeah, that's one way, is just to place place them invisibly, and then when you're not constructing foundation, you can't see anything at all. Or you can do decoration, in which case when you lay the foundation, it's going to make a nice little pattern here. I think I'm a fan of using the pattern. I like to make a mark on the planets that I live on, so I like to be, when I'm flying home from another world, I like to be able to see my sprawling metropolis more clearly from space, and the foundation definitely helps with that goal. All right, so I'm gonna stick with this. Let's just foundation around the foundation production. Always how I start things with Factorio concrete production. Is like, well, it's right here, might as well. I like to do them grid by grid. Just a personal preference to keep everything nice and neat and in squares. Let's up it to 10 by 10. Oh.
Insufficient required items.
Oh, for now already.
Replicated button at the bottom right of the screen to open the panel and manually replicate these items.
Yeah, I've only got so much to go around. There we go. Helps you more clearly see the curvature of the planet as well. We're like sort of towards the pole here, not that far, like less than halfway, but you start to see the warping. It's a bit of a trapezium or something. Not really though, everything's curved. Okay, I kind of want to get more of this going, but now you can see it is indeed using all of the stone that's being supplied. 3.5 furnaces, so I got it right, nailed it. This belt can support more, so I think we should make use of that. I think another miner, which we've got to craft. In fact, we'll just craft a bunch of them. Let's just have 10 to hand at all times. Why not? This one's a little bit more of a fiddly one. Now, if we're only mining 5, that's another 150. That adds up to exactly 360. These two mines will perfectly fill a basic belt, so fair enough. Don't need to worry about getting more spots, because it would just be a waste anyway, at least for the moment. This does need power, so stick one there, why not? And now this should end up being, look at that, a perfectly filled belt, apart from a tiny gap there where it was still finding its feet maybe. Or we could have been having power issues actually. If at any point the power dips at all, gaps will happen in the belt. Oh, and of course now the belt is filled. We can put 2 more furnaces on this to make use of this extra supply. Copy, paste, paste. There we go. It's going to need some more power as well, which is fine. We've got this set up. We've got our template going for that. We'll just follow that line, however long this needs to go. And I reckon that'll give us a 3rd assembler, but a 4th one wouldn't be of any use. That's my guess. Could be wrong. Again, I'm just eyeballing this, which I sometimes like to do. When the ratios get particularly awkward, I'm like, I'm just going to think for a second about what it probably is, and then we'll build it and see how it looks. We may start to struggle in terms of a steel supply now. We're beginning to strain that a little bit, and that's going to be causing us trouble in terms of iron as well. That said, iron's currently fine, and we are doing science right now, so yeah, fair enough. Maybe we're okay. Seems to be holding up. That said, yeah, this belt is going full speed. So it may be that we're draining things at the moment, and it's going to become apparent soon. A little bit, you can see, like, you know, occasionally. As long as the end of the chain stays here, you're okay. Every time it ventures down here a little bit before things build up is a worry. We know we're on our limit, because the last furnace is where it's queued up to. If it was queued up to here, we'd know that we've got extra capacity, but as it is, we're close to the limit there, and there's nothing built up, of course. Right, as this keeps going, we can build up enough concrete to get going with flattening out an area for the main bus. I mean, we don't have to flatten out everywhere. We could just work on filling in the water, and in fact, that's probably how I will go about it. So we really are motoring through the signs. I don't think I needed to get it going as quick as I did, really. Because it's going to be a while before we have red signs going. Partially, though, that is because I'm faffing about building a main bus when I wouldn't really need to. I could just make the next bit of production, but I'd rather try and, like, future-proof. Make something that's going to last. I hope. Though at the same time, I suspect it won't last the whole game. It'll be very good for making the basic stuff. Also, we've researched basic chemical technology. More text to make use of. Definitely getting a little bit ahead of ourselves in terms of the tech, though. Unlocking things that we're not really intending to use yet. But it's good to have the option. When we get round to it, we can dive in and see what it's about. Gotta watch out for those sneaky rocks. They love to hide. The further out we clear, the longer it'll be before we have to do this again. I should probably explain the basic concept of the main bus, because I realize there may be people watching who haven't seen me play Factorio and Satisfactory, though that said, most of the Satisfactory playing that I've done, I haven't shown off my main bus design. Well, there was the Desert Bus series, which may have died. I would like to revive it, but they've updated the game, so that's probably not going to happen now, because things will get messed up that way. Unfortunately, I may like rebuild it up to that point and then start the series from there or something. That'd be cool. I want to show off the full power main bus if I can. I did in a stream where I made it previously in an offline game. But the basic concept of a main bus is to make use of scalable production and sort of modular production in a way. The main bus itself is essentially a central group of belts containing all the basic components that you need to craft things. You just have it running in a straight line, and then you build your production off of that central belt. And the way you build that production, you generally want to build it in a way that means you can keep extending it as much as possible in future to make up for future increases in demand for the various things you're making. So this here isn't really a proper main bus. It is in the sense that there's like a central set of belts containing everything going down the middle, but it very quickly breaks down in terms of scalability because I'm just running machines along the edge here. They're hemming it in so more belts can't be added, and I can't just like, there's no repeatable pattern that I can apply that doesn't just go along the length of the belt and get in the way of other things I've built later on. This is, I think, enough to be getting on with. Right, we're going to use foundation in a sparse way to clear out the space that we need. The way to do that is to use the invisible one and just plop it down spaced out more. That will bring up the area around it enough that you can build on it, and you don't have to use tons of foundation to do so. You can wait till later when you've got enough to properly pave the whole thing. So the way I go about it is putting 2x2 squares on the corner of each of the 5x5 grids. And I went over there, but it's fine because you can't see it when you're not in this menu, and later on I'm going to pave the whole thing anyway. We've unlocked the energy matrix, the red cubes. Excellent. And that means we're actually run out of tech again. So yeah, we're really going through this quicker than we need to be. But we might as well have it all unlocked ready. Okay, so we can do this one, making applied superconductor. Not going to be looking at that for many episodes. Semiconductor material, processor, solar collection. Might as well unlock solar panels while we're at it. If I'm even going to bother with those, though, honestly. Like, the graphite production is going fine right now, so we don't even really need it, but it could come in useful. The problem is, of course, the sun moves around the planet. Half the time, the solar panel isn't going to be getting any power. Also, because these planets actually have, like, inclinations and stuff like that, it means that there are sort of seasons that can go on. I believe. I haven't really given it much thought, but I think that because of the inclination that will happen, where there will be times where the days are shorter or longer, and that will also cause you problems in terms of solar. There is a solution, of course, which is to build a band of solar panels all the way around the equator, and then half of them will always be getting power from the sun. Roughly. There might be some weirdness with again, seasonal things and the orbit being wonky and all that kind of thing. But roughly it'll work out pretty nicely for you. There's the sun. I was looking for it. I realized I just need to look for the night side, and I'd also find the sun. Yeah, that is a way to get power, but it's a very large undertaking, and I feel like you could better use your time building a Dyson Sphere, or well, at least a Dyson Swarm, to generate you power. I haven't yet built the Dyson Swarm, so I'm not sure exactly how lucrative they are in terms of power supply, but I'm imagining it's pretty good. At least by early game standards. You see my soil pile supply is going down as I fill in this space. So we've got to get some more by flattening out some hills above the sea level. So like here and that kind of thing. And this makes your foundation go way, way further than it otherwise would, of course, because you're leaving most of the grid. And so I can actually get an area that I need to sort this out. Now, where is the equator? Is this the equator? In that case, I actually want to go a little bit further. Yeah, I believe... Yeah, that's got to be the equator, this line right here. I want it to be on this line, so actually, we need to foundation a little bit further north to make this work. So yeah, we're not going to build the... We're not going to build the main bus itself today. This is the prep work, so that we can get straight to it next episode. Oh, we're having fuel issues. Hello. It is a lack of coal. Now, this can cause a death spiral. Oh, hello. Oh, for a second there, I thought we might have actually got a crash. My first one of the game, but we're okay. It held together. Yeah, we are currently in a death spiral. A death spiral is where the power ends up in a feedback loop of failure. Basically, we weren't providing enough power. That meant obviously the machines started running slower, including the machines providing coal for the power, meaning that there's even less power being made, and so on until everything fails entirely. Now, it won't in the case of Dyson Sphere Program because we have our wind power as the like propping things up and keeping things vaguely going. So there's a baseline level that we will sink to, that we won't drop below, where there will still be production, but it will be terrible. We may be there now. In fact, no, I think we're still lowering. We were at 60% before. We're dropping down towards more like 50. It's kind of variable. It will kind of rise and fall. Let's have a look at the power graph. So you can see that we're stepping down one by one. It's a little bit ropey as like occasionally bits get through to the machines, but one by one we're losing our machines, and we're currently in the process of losing a fourth machine, leaving us only with 2 of them running. And then I get the feeling that the wind power will be enough to provide coal to keep the remaining 2 going, but pretty much nothing else, and that's where we'll kind of hang about for the rest of the time. So, the easy way to fix it is to increase the... Oh, now it's getting bad. Yeah, it's to increase the rate of production of fuel. Adding another miner in will resolve this problem. Yeah, it's occasionally getting so low that everything's actually complaining about power issues. So, that's a shame. It's too close to the, to here to really work properly. Right, well, we're gonna untether so that we can, oh, this is actually very good here. What is that? Have we got that one at the bottom? No, we don't. We can leave that one out of it. Oh, hello. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That'll definitely cover us. That means this thing's gonna mine at, well, we can't tell. 360, I think. Wait, no. No, it's 270. For a second I thought it was going to make a full belt all on its own, but it can't quite manage that. Right, then we have, oh, no, belt come out of here. Drop down here, go across to here. Just have it go straight onto that belt. Really, it should go in before the buffer. Okay, we'll do it. I'll do it properly. Like, I had an internal struggle there where I'm like, do I care enough? And the answer ultimately was yes, I do. I do care enough. So we'll have it go via the buffer. Yeah, we should now have a full belt of the stuff. We're definitely mining more than enough for that. Don't know how much exactly, but we are. Well, actually not at the moment because of the power shortage, but we'll balance it out soon enough. That makes me wonder. What's the consumption of these? It's 1 per second for each of these. So only 6 of these can run, actually, I think. Except some of them still are. It's all a bit wonky at the moment because of the power weirdness. But I think only 6 of these can actually make use of a full belt. So the last couple aren't going to do anything. But now we will spiral back up effectively. We've reversed the direction of it. We're now making more coal than we need compared to the power consumption. So the coal will build up, more and more power will switch on, and eventually everything will be back to normal. And we're starting to occasionally hit 100. That said, I don't know if we're actually able to support the power demands we have these days. That one's still struggling right there, so we are still getting fully up to speed. What's the consumption rate of one of these? How do we even tell? This one's a little bit more fiddly. I don't think there's a simple way of working it out. There's some complex maths involving the fact that this gives you plus 60% fuel chamber generation, and this is a conversion rate of 80, and it could be 1 per second. It kind of looks like that. It could be that simple. In which case, only exactly 6 of these can run off of these 6, and we're actually kind of at our limit here until we get more belts in the picture. There are occasionally gaps happening here. Oh no, it's because the green... I was looking here and being like, I see gaps! Yeah, because this one's grabbing one every second, of course. It is a perfectly saturated belt now. And yeah, this is getting priority, so this is running full speed. This is running intermittently. Oh yeah, this will build up whenever we're not using our power fully. So, because there's times when, yeah, because we're at like 90% satisfaction, now these things aren't consuming graphite at the full speed that they're being supplied, and they are building up, but only because of that. We are hanging around close to the limit, and this is the limit of what this setup can currently support until we get more belts involved, or faster belts involved. Or we bring in some other kind of fuel, because there are plenty of other kinds. I think that like pretty much anything with a fuel value can be burned. Anything that the suit can burn, the combustion engines can also burn. That's my understanding, at least. Oh, that's annoying. We've got 1 left. Also, I notice we are out of space right now. I did make myself a storage crate over here for emptying out junk. So we can stick all that in there. And we've once again got plenty of space, though we've run out of space in this thing. In that case, we'll chuck another one on top and carry on. There we go. Oh, and that thing. And we've done some more research. There is more to go, though.
Rare veins scatter around different planets. They will greatly improve production efficiency. So if you find them, collect them, and put them as a part of industrial production.
As far as I know, there aren't any rare veins here. I don't know if it, like, hides them from you, but we can have a look around. And these all seem to be normal. But I think there are, like, certain rare resources, and the mining them produces other strange things. Or, like, multiple things in various ratios and stuff like that. But I suspect they deliberately don't put any on the starting planet, or if they do, they don't have it labeled. I feel like they would label it, though. But you can see there's certain patches that just have nothing to them. Interestingly enough. Like, look at this thing. Huge area, mostly because it's all water. But yeah, I've noticed a couple of interesting landmarks here. There's like a chain of crude oil that kind of curls around near the South Pole. Seems like a good place to start with the oil stuff. Once we get to that. Oh, okay. But yeah, we are pretty much out of time for today. We've got plenty of concrete to be working with now, so there we go. And so next episode we should be ready pretty much to get on with the main bus and I can actually show it off. I was hoping to do it this episode, but I realized there was some more prep work that needed doing before we can get to that. We also need to work on giving some extra smelter capacity to our system over here so we can really get going. Now, some of these, how are these on the end getting iron? Maybe I got the ratio wrong. Oh no, it's built up. Of course, yeah, when it builds up it starts moving down the chain to the ones further down. Well, that's good to see. We're meeting our demands, except in terms of steel. Steel is just beginning to drain. It's not bad yet, but it's there. We need more machines working on that. A problem for another time, though. Right now, they're being consumed to make concrete, which we don't always need to be being made. It's just I want a lot of it right now. But there we go. Oh, let's turn that off because it's annoying. There's our factory, a little patch here, and we've begun paving the world. And this is one of those games where you actually can complete the task of paving an entire world. So I think at some point along the line we will give that a go. But that's all I have time for today, so I should say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.